Part of your salad. I don't know what date she did this. She was with me. She was such a hard-headed woman. I remember. Oh, I did two for people. Is that something? That car talk to me about my fucking trash.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see everyone in person and also everyone virtually. And welcome to the Cleveland Landmarks Commission meeting for January 22nd, 2026. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio Open Meeting Law of Section 101.021 of the Codified Ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the Cleveland City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by roll call vote. Recusal for any case due to a conflict of interest should be stated prior to the, or stated for the record prior to the beginning of the presentation. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, virtual attendees will use the raised hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raised hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile versions and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking the raised hand icon again and muting your microphone. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activities are being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels has been considered. Proper channels for comments are sending an email to the landmark@clevelandohio.gov email address with a comment or letter, calling and or leaving a message at 216-664-2532, or sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall located at 601 Lakeside Avenue, Suite 519. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the stated deadline are collected by Landmark staff and disseminated to the commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Mr. Wilson?
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. To go through the meeting rules and procedures, the chair will call each agenda item, and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation is concluded, the chair will ask Landmark staff to summarize Design Review Advisory Committee recommendations and any public comments received. The deadline for public comment is noon on the Tuesday prior to any regularly scheduled Cleveland Landmarks Commission meeting. Any received comments are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff. The commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member, except the chair, may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called.
They would like to call the January 22nd, 2026 Landmark Commission meeting to order. Mr. Musson, please call roll.
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Dulick? Here. Councilmember Gray?
Here.
Mr. Lozier?
Here.
Assistant Director Fields?
Here.
Mr. Sambry? Here. Mr. Strickland? Mr. Trosick?
Here.
Dr. Williams?
Here.
And Ms. Trott?
Here.
Madam Chair, we have quorum. I'd also like to note that we have Jessica Beam and myself present from the Landmarks office. Carl Brengis is joining us online. We have Sierra Lipscomb joining us from the Law Department.
Excellent. Then we will begin with our certificates of appropriateness. We'd like to call our first applicant forward to tell us about your project. First applicant is the Bubet residence located at 7209 Franklin Boulevard, window replacement. Good morning.
You could just press the little red button there to turn on the mic. There you go.
Good. Okay. My name's Matthew Biockley. I'm the representative, the design consultant representing Renewal by Anderson. Back in November, we met with the Bubet family as far as replacing the remaining 5 windows in their home. Yep, if you, at the front three windows on the bottom, like on the porch area, those are the three existing windows that do need replaced on the front of the house. You can go to the next slide, please. Yep, so on the left, marked 101, 102, 103. That is a photo of the existing windows. As you see to the right, we're going to match them like for like. As far as functioning, they will be double hung windows. We did match the color, the style. You can go to the next slide. So the acclaimed double hung cottage 2-3 style, that is the that what that represents is the bottom sash and the top sash. They are different sizes. And we are going to match the color. That exterior color is going to be red rock. And then on the interior, we're going to do a pine finish so that for it leaves it for the homeowners to stain it. So it'll match the existing windows of the home. And you could go to the next slide. And then the remaining two windows are on the far end of the house. It is like it's next to their exit area going out of the home, and there's a bathroom window, which is 104 and 105. To match the other colors to the surrounding windows on this side of the home were black. For the storm windows on the outside are white. We're going to match them black, and then match the same style as well, showing on the right. You can go to the next slide, please. And the same information. That is a cottage 2-3 style. We're going to install a slope sill insert frame, traditional check rail. The exterior color will be black. The interior color will be white, as they prefer to paint it to match the other colors in that area of that home. Okay, next slide, please. So this is just information regarding the installation. We do provide our installers. They are certified, qualified installers that are bought and insured through Andersen to ensure that the project's done to meet the standards of what needs done for this job. Next slide, please. Okay, why they need to replace. So the homeowner is looking to update and replace the 5 windows. These are the remaining windows that do need replaced. One thing I'll make note of, they do have Renewal by Andersen windows in the home. We found that the other windows that have been replaced were replaced by us. So the upside to that, they want to match those windows. The homeowner is looking to replace the current windows with new Andersen Acclaim Fibrix windows to preserve the current style and match the neighboring properties. The current windows are hard to open and close. They're drafty and they're not energy efficient. The homeowner would like to update the windows to the modern standards and the ease of operation, as well as increase the energy efficiency while maintaining the traditional look of the home. Our goal is to keep the original look of the windows while updating the design so that the homeowners can use this room with more comfort and ease. You can go to the next slide, please. So our product, Fibrix, that is what we use to make the framing of our windows. And by doing that, we're able to match, by the same style and the look of the existing wood windows. Whereas if you went with like a more plain white window, you wouldn't be able to represent that matching style as the existing windows. Fibrix has a 20-year warranty. And under the studies we've done, it is guaranteed to last for no less than 20 years. Slide, please. So
Right.
here is. Yep.
I think this might be me. You can do it if you want, but I'm happy to take over if you want.
It's either or, whichever you prefer.
Yeah. I'll go ahead. And feel free to jump in as you.
Could you just announce yourself really quickly before you
Sure,
start?
I'm sorry. This is Ellen Bubbett. I own the home. I don't think my
Excellent,
husband's
thank
on.
you.
He's teaching right now, but yeah. So I know that part of the reason that this was a tie vote before was because of the upper sashes. They're the original windows, they're leaded windows. They are very beautiful. We like them. We had tried to keep them. We moved in the house in August 2023. We immediately contacted Home Heritage to kind of like do a little work around the place, get some contractors that specialize in older homes. And they provided us 3 contacts specifically for those windows because they are still like I'm not well versed in windows, but they're still like the rope and weight windows. Not a lot of people do that. So they provided us 3 contacts for that. We had people come out, we had people refurbish them. Everyone told us they couldn't do anything about the upper sashes. I don't know why, they just weren't working. So we have tried to restring, lubricate, all the stuff. We've done that twice. One of the guys that came out actually like took apart our entire window to do this because they were stuck. Like the windows are non-functional right now. He ended up like putting nails in it to keep it up, like just some kind of wild things because they're so old. But the upper sash, the really pretty part, is still an issue for us. It was dropping. So we had to put dowels in the windows in order to hold them up. And no one else could kind of fix that issue. So I think the main concern that the committee prior to that was those windows. I just want to like let you guys know we did make pretty significant efforts to retain those, but it just is not working out. And we have non-functional windows. And not only that, but there's a high concentration of lead on those. And we have a 2-year-old, so it's just not safe to have in our house. So that's why we're looking to replace these windows. I have it on my phone. I'm not sure what the next slide is. If you go to the next one, we can skip this one. We can go to the next one. So safety concerns for us is the lead poisoning, obviously. Like I mentioned, we have a 2-year-old. When we did the lead test, there's a significant amount of lead and it's eroding. So there's like this white powder, it's mixing with the dust, it's getting all in the air. They're also, like I said, propped up by dowels. So there's a significant risk of them falling on people there. It's in our living room. It's a heavily used area. And the other thing I mentioned is egress. Like they're completely non-functional. We've tried to get storm windows. They don't fit because we can't open the windows to get them back in. Let me see the next slide. Okay. And then the next slide, if you don't mind. This is stuff that we talked about previously with the commission. And this was even like before we had this meeting, was like, I know that the fascias are really pretty. Like our intent is to preserve those and hang them some way, like try to hang them outside of the house. That way it's outside of the house. They're hung, they're still there, but the lead would be outside the house and they're not at a risk of falling. And then I think it's important to note too, like we have the leaded windows in other areas of the home, but they're not on functioning windows. So we have it around our doors. We have it around one of our windows on the side, and those we're retaining. We're addressing the lead in another way. We're getting like, this isn't right. I wish my husband was on the call, but we're getting some kind of glass to put up so that the lead will be covered, but we can't do that for these windows because we need them to open and close, which they're not doing. And if you go to the next slide, sorry, whoever's doing it, is it Jessica?
Yes.
Okay, so if you see here, we have these storm windows. They don't fit. Like the right side is like significantly different. And then if you go to the next one, these are the ones that I told you we're still preserving. These are the ones around the window. These are the ones around the door. Next slide, please, Jessica. Okay, and so here, I have to give my husband credit for all the pictures and everything. He said we could like hang the upper sashes up here in the blue or in the yellow. That way they're still there. All right, next one. This will kind of, go ahead.
I was just gonna add the far, like the windows, if you go back to that previous picture. For our discussion on our previous meeting, what we'll do, what our installers are gonna do, we're gonna preserve those top sashes no matter what. So they're not damaged, or they're gonna take the proper precautions when they disassemble those windows, those sashes. And there are other options for that where they can mount those sashes in front to still give that original traditional look to show off the decorative glass that's on the front of the house.
Yep. All right, next one. This kind of shows you the current state of the windows, which is not great. So you can see the dowels are in there holding up the sash because nothing is holding them up right now. Next one. I know this is a lot. So the previous owners had put a dowel in the middle, and you can see how it's kind of, they were also trying to, this has been a problem since before we were in there. They also tried to like screw the upper sash into the window to keep it held up. So that also obviously didn't work. Next slide. Okay, so this shows you some of the eroded lead that's on the window, and then also like damage from the dowels that they tried to do. I think the rest are like pretty much the same if you want to just kind of go through them. More dowels showing you that they're holding up literally all the sashes. Damage from dowels. Here's where they tried to nail it in to secure the upper sash. And then the next one. Sorry, next one. I think. Yeah. So this shows you like all the like erosion that's like coming from the lead that's right above our couch where our 2-year-old frequently plays. So that was a lot, but we just kind of wanted to show you like our efforts that we've made so far and kind of the damage or the dangers that like we're currently facing as is. That's it. I don't know if I can go back on here.
I did more, I wanted to get more information regarding the top sashes with the art glass, being that there is lead that is involved in establishing those sashes. There's a lot of the issues is if those dowels that are holding them up, if they were to be removed and that clam shut, those are heavy sashes. They're like probably 50 pounds, if not more. If they were to break that glass, it shatters. That's also releasing that lead into the atmosphere. And that dust, that's, if you look like behind the locking system, like that's the dust that's settling. And that's because it's coming off of the pieces of the decorative glass, that art glass, which has lead in it. And it's obviously hazardous to be breathing in, especially when they have an infant in the home. Sorry, that's all. Yeah, that was what I wanted to add to that.
I
Yeah.
want to make sure we weren't your presentation.
That's okay.
Patiently
I
wait.
think
Excellent.
Mr. I think he's there in the bottom right. I think he just.
Welcome. Okay, well, thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it. Before we move on to our comments, we're going to hear about the Design Review Advisory Committee recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project was reviewed by the Historic West Cleveland Design Review Advisory Committee on January 7th. There was a lot of discussion at that committee meeting, as noted by our applicants. The committee members discussed wanting to make sure that the design aesthetic was matched as much as possible. They did appreciate that the windows are being replaced to match the other windows that have been replaced on the home, noting that majority of the windows appear to be black, and then there's black storms on it, and so possibly looking into using black instead of red rock on the front of the home, just to kind of make sure it's all cohesive throughout the house. And there's a lot of discussion on removing that character-defining feature of that leaded glass, and wanting to see restoration preferred or incorporating that pattern into new windows, and salvaging the sash, incorporating it in some other way. And the committee really appreciated the owners and the contractor being able to explain the work that was done to previously to service the windows and to try to take care of them as much as possible. So there was a motion for the recommendation, the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness with the recommendation for the colors to match across the entire home, and the condition to salvage the decorative upper sash of the front windows and incorporate those into the front of the home, mimicking the original appearance as much as possible. Noting that support for the decorative window replacement was due to the safety and function issues relayed. That recommendation was a tie. And so the committee at that time was split on if they wanted to make this recommendation. And instead of making another motion, they recommended that the applicants come forward to this commission with the reasons noted, which they have provided additional pictures, additional details on the work done to the home, especially in regard to the windows, so that the Landmarks Commission can make a full determination of that. And so thankfully they have done that, which is very appreciated.
The only thing I would add, we've discussed the changing the color, which is a simple fix we can do. That's simple.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. We will then move on to Landmark staff recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This, I guess, want to start off that these are gorgeous windows. Looks like a very well cared for house. So we appreciate that. It seems like the applicants have certainly done their due diligence and gone through the steps that we'd recommend before anyone replaces their windows. They've had people out to try and make repairs. They've talked to CRS through the Heritage Home Program. And it sounds like after going through those steps, they still haven't remedied the issues. So staff would recommend approval with the condition that the upper sashes be maintained in the home somewhere. If they want to reinstall them in some way, staff is happy to work out the details of where those end up going. I wouldn't recommend on the porch. That just seems like it would create other issues and they deteriorate pretty quickly. There are also products out there like the Ready LED strips that could be applied to the new windows to sort of mimic the look of LED, at least from the street of the Kaming. So staff is happy to work out, those kinds of details with staff. But we feel that they've gone through the steps and done their due diligence. So we'd recommend approval in this case.
Thank you for that recommendation. We'll then open up the floor to the commission for questions and comments. Who would like to start us off? Mr. Sandberry?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to commend the owner for going through all the steps and working with many different tradespeople that are specialized in this kind of work. Are we allowed to suggest other companies as a city body?
I think if there's a specific product you're aware of that
A person that could work on these?
I think you're probably going to say the same one. Go ahead.
As a city body, are we allowed to
I think if you're not making a specific motion that, I don't know, Sierra, do you have thoughts on that?
I do not have thoughts on that. I would have to check with back in law and see if you've ever had that question before. My initial thought would be no. 'Cause just generally, I mean, it could be seen as the city advertising or promoting a specific company over others, but that's my initial thought on it.
Okay. There are, I think, award-winning leaded glass repair companies in Cleveland that can work on this and create something for you from these, or to remove the lead and possibly repair the windows that are not the ones you've listed as a company you've already gone to. There's also really great wood window repair companies in Cleveland that have done really great work. Also ones you have not to. But I think in some way we can get you names of multiple companies, so it's not a specific company. But I don't think these are lost yet. I still have hope for saving these. But I am in full support of replacing the non-character defining windows in the house. But I would like I said, I fully commend you for the efforts you've already done. But I know that Cleveland has some great people here that can do what you're looking to do.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sandberry. Mrs. Anderson, or Ms. Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couple of things. First of all, I'm in agreement with staff. Hanging these outside are going to expose them to a lot of wear and tear. And these things are, I think they look, they're lead and they're sturdy, but they're not gonna do well in, against wind and rain and whatever. And the other thing is hanging them outside runs the risk of them getting stolen. I don't know if they're still stealing leaded windows anymore, but they sure used to. A lot of people in the area have had theft of their leaded windows. I am in agreement with Mr. Sandberry. I think that there are. I can think of one contractor and one leaded glass company that could intercede here. The other thing is, I don't know if there's a coating you can put on the leaded demarcations of the glass, or if there's even kind of like what you're going to do with the other windows, is put just a piece of plexiglass over it to keep the lead dust from entering into the living space. So I think there's probably other ways to address this. I have a question. The prior owners of this house had children. They were there 15 years, so I'm sure kids grew up there. Do you know if any of those kids had high lead levels?
Respectfully, I don't think that's a fair question to ask the neighbors. That's none of my business. I know what I need for my family, and I want a lead-free home. So,
well, I was just wondering if, you were aware of, an ongoing problem.
I think
I raised my
answered it.
hand, but just sorry to address the other questions that you guys had about the putting coating. I think that part of what I said earlier is those sashes, they don't stay up. So even if we put the coating on it, the issue still remains that they're falling. So like putting coating on might address the lead issue, but it's not going to address the falling issue and the functionality of the windows. I know that you've talked about some other contractors that might do leaded windows, but that kind of defeats the purpose of removing the lead from our home, which again is the most important part for us having a 2-year-old.
Thank you for the feedback.
Great. Well, thank
Ms.
you.
Anderson, any other questions, or have you covered your questions?
Not right now.
Okay, thank you.
Not right now.
Okay, thank you. Other questions and comments from the commission? Mr. Sandberry, I saw your hand partially go up.
Just to readdress some of the questions points you had, to keep the windows, the sash up, you can put a stop inside the rail, which is really just a wood block. You can screw it in as many times as you want, glue it in. That will stop it from falling any further than it is now. I know that's not the solution you're looking for. That would fix the upper sash from moving down. You would still be able to operate the lower window. I understand your issues with lead in the house. That's something that's very close to me too. The new leaded cames that they can put in are less lead. I don't know personally if they're lead free or not. but that would reduce the degradation of the lead that's in there currently, and it would stop it from flaking.
Thank you, Mrs. Sambury. Other questions and comments from the commission? I guess I will make my comments. I think this is a very hard situation that we're all put in because we do encourage and want to support the removal of lead, but not always to the detriment of the windows because that's a historical element. In this case, I am personally also torn because these are beautiful windows, but respect the needs of the family. I am probably aligned with staff's approach that if we do move forward with the approval of these windows, to work to try to incorporate some materials that could emulate what was there, so maintain the historic nature of the windows, character of the windows, but support the more modern installation. But this is a hard one because these windows are gorgeous and a very defining feature of the house itself. Mr. Lozier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to just commend the homeowners from doing all of this due diligence. This is again what we hope homeowners do when they come to this board with wanting to make alterations. I mean, you went through all of the right steps, so thank you so much for that. In my mind, I think there's maybe two avenues or two things to maybe consider. The first is if there are other window companies that could potentially that you haven't had a chance to connect with yet, to explore that maybe one more time just to see if there's anything that can be done to either to alleviate all of the concerns that you have. Is there an opportunity to remove the lead from the windows so that they, with a new material? I don't know that we know enough about on this body what that ultimately is, but I think a little bit further investigation, if there is an opportunity to save these, just one last shot before replacement. If that's still not satisfactory and we're not able to accommodate all of the concerns that the homeowners have, then I would agree with staff's recommendation with removing the historic decorative leaded glass windows, getting them into a state that they can be sort of retained within the house or within the home. Hopefully, capturing and encapsulating the lead so that it doesn't degrade more. But making sure those windows remain in the home in perpetuity. If you were to sell these, if you were to sell the house later on, the expectation would be that those would remain in the home. And that I don't know how that stipulation ultimately sort of rides through time and future sort of transitions, but I'd like at least one more attempt with companies that really do specialize in this to give it one more look before deciding to move forward with the replacement. And I'm completely fine with the replacement on the other windows that you had mentioned. And I'm in agreement with staff. I think keeping all of that color consistent across all of the windows would be preferable. So that's mine.
Thank you, Mr. Lozier. I do see the owner's hand up. Mr. Bubbett, if you don't mind just announcing yourself for our records and then go ahead with your comment. Oh, you are muted.
You're on mute, babe.
Nope, no. Try talking again. We cannot hear you.
It says he's unmuted.
It says you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Miles Bubbett. I'm one of the owners with Ellen. I did once we went through the review board meeting. I did reach out to people who restored stained glass and worked with leaded glass. I called a couple of companies. I don't remember their names right now, but I reached out to them, and they mainly told me that the work they did was on like churches and stained glass, like bigger installments. And they also said that the main work that they did was on windows that did not function. So we, from the other pictures in the review and the slideshow, you can see we have those other leaded glass that we were going to put acrylic plexiglass over. I mean, that's mainly like what they restored. So and also they still use lead in the materials, my understanding from at least one of the companies. So it kind of like it would fix. We're at an impasse where we could fix one problem but not both, and both of them we would like to see addressed as homeowners.
Sorry, thank you. Go ahead.
So the gentleman's trying to give it one more shot and call some restoration companies. We did. I reached out to two. One was in Cleveland here, and then another one was I think down in towards Cuyahoga Valley. I'm sorry, I can't remember the company's name, but I didn't write them down.
Okay, thank you for those comments and that feedback. That's very helpful to understand. Other questions and comments from the commission? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the window replacement with the condition that they work with staff on the final details as outlined in their staff report.
Okay, we have a motion with conditions that to work with staff on the salvage plan for the sashes, incorporating them into the house. Did the staff plan also have the color recommendation incorporated?
Yes, yeah, color recommendation to be black to match all the other replacement windows. And I think with the salvage plan would also, as part of that, explore mimicking the pattern of the stained glass on the upper sash.
So the three conditions, so we have a motion with three conditions. Do we have a second? Ms. Anderson?
Oh, I don't know. I may be too early. I had a question about the motion.
Get a second for, let us get a second first, and then we can clarify the motion. We have a motion. Do you have a second? Mr. Deal?
Madam Chair, I will second.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Now for further discussion, Ms. Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm asking if the existing windows are going to be retained. I don't know how they, go into the future ownership as a fixture if they're not in there, but that's my question.
You asked if they could be retained, correct? The top and bottom sashes, we are already under the understanding that no matter what we're gonna salvage, we're gonna take proper care, whatever amount of time that takes when we do disassemble the windows to remove them, to replace them with the replacement windows. So because of the situation that stands. So our installers there'll be a note in the contract added that we will take proper care of everything instead of just, going in there and disassembling them and hauling them away for disposal. They will definitely be
Salvage.
taken with proper care. Yeah.
But salvage and return to owner?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Mr. Bobbitt?
I'm sorry. I think I understood Ms. Anderson's question as like future ownership, as in beyond Ellen and I.
That was a comment that was made from a commission member. Is can there be something put into the future, into an agreement of at a future date that these windows would be retained with the house, meaning you can't just sell them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think legally that would probably get tricky. I don't know, Ms. Lipscomb might have some thoughts on that, but I think we
Yes.
just have to go on the owner's
Yeah.
word.
Correct.
I would say no, you can't do that.
So
Yeah,
that
it's-
was
I
what,
just-
go ahead.
I was just clarifying because her question sounded similar, and I was like, this kind of verges into a territory where it's a legal area that might not be possible. But it's something I obviously I don't understand that, but that's a question for like more like a realtor or someone who handles those legal sides of selling properties better. I don't know if that's quite possible. Those kind of conditions.
Right, Miss Anderson is actually is a realtor, so but I think we are saying that, you know, we would agree it probably can't go into perpetuity that these windows have to stay with the house, but we would, you know, just like the trust of the owner of you, that you would maintain them with the house, you know, so that it gives options for the future.
Absolutely. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Miss Anderson, do you have anything to add?
No, that's basically what I wanted to know.
Okay. Any further questions or comments about the motion? Any more discussion? Okay, then Mr. Mussin, please call roll.
Okay, Ms. Anderson,
No.
Mr. Dulick,
Yes.
Councilmember Gray.
Yes. Yes.
sorry, was
Can you
that-
hear me?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Mr. Lozier,
While I support this motion, I am going to vote no at this time.
AD Fields,
Yes.
Mr. Sambray,
No.
Mr. Trasick,
Yes.
Dr. Williams,
Yes.
and Ms. Trott.
Yes.
All right, Madam Chair, the motion passes by a vote of 6-3.
All right. Well, congratulations, you are approved, but we would ask you to obviously, you know, and you've already said it, but take good care of these windows and work with staff to come up with a salvage plan of how these windows will be salvaged and reused, and or what options and opportunities there are to replicate the detailing of the windows from the exterior so that it continues those defining factors of the windows moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And if you have
All
any
right.
recommendations, we would appreciate that sending us our way. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Reach out to staff and they can give you some recommendations. We will, you know, they're not requirements. They are just additional options. How's that? That you could talk to.
We love options. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have
Bye.
a good evening.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We will then move on to our next applicants. The Arch of St. Michael's, located at 3146 Scranton Road. Previous case was 21-001 related to signage. Good morning. If you could just push the button, there you go. Perfect.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Abigail Jasper. Thank you for your time. I am an architect at HT Francisco in Siebold, and we are the architecture firm working on the adaptive use of the school and convent building at the Arc at St. Michael. My colleague Brian Grambort, as well as representative of the owner developer CHN, Jennifer Koperdak, are attending virtually today. So we're here to review the proposed monument sign at the Arc of St. Michael. Can you do next slide?
And there's a dramatic pause that you have to be
Right.
patient for.
Yeah.
Just give it a second. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Very dramatic pause.
So the Arc at St. Michael is an adaptive reuse project that transforms two historic buildings while preserving their architectural integrity. The development is an affordable senior housing project. It is LIHTC credits as well. The period of significance, while not directly related to the monument sign, is 1852 to 1952, and it's located in the Scranton South Side Historic District, southwest of downtown Cleveland. So the property itself is directly southeast of Clark Avenue and West 25th Street on Scranton between Kinkle Avenue and Prame Avenue. The new monument sign will be located on Scranton Road on the lawn north of the historic main entryway adjacent to the sidewalk. So it's the tiny rectangle that's aligned with the street. Scranton's on an angle compared to Kinkle and Prime. So that's where you're seeing it. And then the two horizontal lines are where the walkway, the main walkway is into the original historic entrance. This is a composite photo. The existing building is Victorian Gothic style. It has significant ornamentation, and this composite photo is of the main east elevation of the building. It is the main facade, and due to the size of the building as well as neighborhood context, it's a pretty dense community. And this is the only way we could create an orthogonal photo. So it's messy, but it's the only way to kind of get everything in one visual. The significant majority of the existing building materials will be retained, including stone facade, existing terracotta and copper roofs. And the stone has a smooth dressed ashlar water table, and then the main body of it is a rusticated stone. The gable ends are accented with buttresses that extend out at 45-degree angles with finials and copper decorative elements. And the historic main entry in the center also has this rotated buttress that's at a 45-degree angle flanking the main doors. Not shown in this photo is the convent building. That building was constructed in the 1950s, and it's primarily yellow brick. That is going to be relevant towards the brick that we're going to see in the sign in a few slides. So the sign is approximately 6 feet 4 inches tall at the center peak, and the width is 8 feet 8 inches wide. The depth is approximately 20 inches at the rotated pillars, which are 16 inches. So the rotated pillars are reference to the main entrance and buttresses at the gable ends that we talked about in the elevation photo from the previous slide. And we're using precast brick to connect the convent building material to the sign. So we did incorporate comments from the Greater Cuyahoga Valley Historic Design Review Advisory Committee.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. From that meeting, they encouraged us to explore cast brick in lieu of actually using a yellow brick that had was available from some repair work that was done on the convent building. And then we also changed the lettering and the logos from pin mounted elements to cast in stone. And that was recommended just from a vandalism perspective, theft and people modifying the sign as a extracurricular activity. So in the daytime, the rendering should pop up. Utilizing elements from the historic school building, again, there's a pointed arch at the center and the rotated end pillars. The terracotta gable roof is called out by those angled capstone of the sign, and it is cast stone and cast brick. The building name is prominently located on both sides of the sign as our street address and signage for equal housing opportunity and accessibility. We did explore reusing some existing masonry from the building that we have due to an incident. It would have been cost prohibitive. It was just outrageously expensive, and it wasn't finished stone. It was more rough and would have needed significant work to be able to use in the sign. But we felt like it was important to share that with the commission because it was an exercise that we really investigated. The colors of the stone are selected to match the existing building. At night, the sign will be externally lit from the ground with LED lighting fixtures placed 5 feet from both sides of the sign. The committee did ask us to consider an integral light from above, just again to deal with vandalism, and the owner elected to keep the design as it is from the ground. Then we will have a perspective rendering just showing the monument sign imposed over an existing street view photo. How would it be viewed from across the street on Scranton looking south towards the west? And then that is our presentation. I'm going to go back to the rendering if I can. Just going to take a minute. Oh, The night rendering's fine. So that's our presentation. Does the commission have any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. Before we get to our comments, we're going to review what the local committee's feedback and recommendation was.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project was reviewed by the Greater Cuyahoga Valley Historic Design Review Advisory Committee on January 6th. They, as noted by our applicant, they had a lot of discussion about the pin-mounted letters that were presented there and the use of precast brick versus regular brick, just with the context and possible vandalism issues because it's so close to the sidewalk. They said that the sign was tasteful, very well designed, but did have concerns that the ground lighting could be covered and did recommend like LED downlight in the overhang or have it bumped with landscaping to protect that. But they did recommend the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness with a consideration for the LED downlight on the sign and use of precast material versus actual brick.
Thank you. We'll then move on to Landmark staff recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, staff feels it's a nicely designed sign with good durable materials. I think we share the local committee's concerns about the lighting plan, just with the lights just kind of being in the grass and lawn care. If there's some sort of protection put around them, we think that would be a good idea. I guess another benefit of the local suggestion to move a lighting band, having it more integrated and downlit, would be if you have a snowy winter like we've had, it doesn't get buried and the illumination still works year round. I did want to note that there are some variances that are required. So as far as the height goes, they are allowed 5 foot, and this is a 6'4" height proposed. So they need a 1'4" sign height variance. And also the proposed distance from the property line, they're allowed 20 feet and they're proposing 2. So they would need an 18-foot property line variance. 2 feet seems awfully close to the property line. So I think if there's some room for compromise, I think bumping it back to, 5-6 feet might make sense. If you have enough room between the building and the sign, that might make sense just from a, durability standpoint as well. And then I also just wanted to note it is a very lovely sign, very tastefully designed, ties into the building nicely. But we wondered if, as far as readability goes, having the text be a color, like if there's a way to, stain the stone just where the text is, or painting it, if that might help it to be more legible.
Right.
But staff certainly recommends approval, with those conditions or recommendations noted.
Perfect. Thank you for those recommendations. We'll then open up the floor to the commission for questions and comments. Would you like to start us off? Mr. Blazier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm in agreement with staff on this one. I think it's a really handsome sign. I would be willing to support the height variance, but agree. I think if this could be pushed back a little bit further from the sidewalk, I think that would help with the concerns that staff had raised. Going to the lighting, I think, is probably the piece here that we're probably most concerned about. And one avenue might be if you were to continue with the sort of ground mounted lighting, maybe incorporate a landscape bed around that sign and those lights, just so that it's not just in the grass where you're going to have, lawnmowers sort of potentially interfering with that. A second potential recommendation might be, while today the sort of ground mounted lighting is preferred, maybe designing the sign in such a way that you could add integrated lighting into that in the future if the site lighting did become an issue. Just making sure that there was power and a place to be able to recess a LED sort of strip fixture on the underside of the cap, just to sort of belt and suspenders potentially if down the road the ground lighting doesn't end up working out. But I think it's a really, it complements the building well. I think it fits with the historic context. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll take a look at both of those. We were talking about the landscape plan and making some changes to it, even just at our regular weekly meeting earlier this week. So we'll add that to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lozier. Other questions and comments from the commission? Mr. Dulick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, congratulations to everybody involved with not only saving and preserving this building, but honoring its character and putting it to a highly needed use in the neighborhood. So thank you, everyone involved. And this, I agree with my fellow commissioners, this very handsome sign goes with the building. It's what we want to see. I'm also concerned about how close it is to the sidewalk. So I think
We'll definitely
somewhere
look
in
at
somewhere in that middle.
reworking it. Okay.
And I think a landscape bed is warranted for sure. I mean, you'll know when it's too close to the building when you study it.
Yeah.
But as far as the lighting goes, I don't know. I think that the ground mount is challenging. Obviously, it looks really nice. It's very much in the spirit of the building, so I like it. I think the robustness of the kind of fixture you can get is probably the more important consideration. But another thought, I think I see that gable. I don't know that there isn't out there or could be created something that could fit in the little gable and shine down on it.
Okay.
I think that might actually be kind of a way to get a design feature as well as kind of make, like every arch or every gable you see has something in it
Right.
on the facade of the building. So I'd love to see more of a decorative downlight sconce as an option. So
All right, we'll take a look. We'll take a look at that for sure.
Mr.
thank
Dulick.
you. Mhm.
Other questions and comments from the commission? Well, I think Mr. Dulick did say it was, what I was going to also recommend is that, looking at the detailing, if there are ways to incorporate it and or color match it to the stone, so that it's not as prominent as a, dark bronze light fixture or brown fixture that you typically see, but does allow you to have that lighting continuously, but respects the detailing, of the overall sign. But overall, I'm in support of the sign also with some of the feedback Mr. Lozier, staff and Mr. Dulick did, meaning, exploring moving it back, putting the landscape bed regardless of where the lighting is, continuing to look at the lighting. And right, also in support of the height variance that would be required for the sign. Other questions and comments from commission? Someone like to put forward a motion? Good.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve as presented with the following condition. Support of the height variance, but required to study deeper setback than the 2 feet as presented. Request study landscaping around the sign, as well as lighting options in addition to a ground mounted sign, including strip lighting incorporated into the sign or a decorative light fixture at the gable on the sign, and require that you work with staff on the exact details, placement, and landscaping of the project. Cover everyone's comments?
One clarification, are you in support of the property line variance, but the exact distance of the variance to be determined by staff once the sign is moved closer to the building?
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
Trying to accomplish it so that it
Yep.
keeps
Nope,
staff.
really.
Yeah.
Always appreciate clarification.
So we have a motion with conditions or recommendations. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lozier, thank you for the second. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. Mr. Musson, please call roll.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Dulick?
Yes.
Councilmember Gray? Councilmember Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Lozier? Oh, all right. Mr. Lozier?
Yes.
AD Fields?
Yes.
Mr. Sambry?
Yes.
Mr. Trasick?
Yes.
Dr. Williams?
Yes.
And Ms. Trott?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Excellent. Congratulations. Thank
you.
you. We will then move on to our next applicant. Kinda Guatemala, located 10106 Lorraine Avenue, new signage. Do we have someone present related to that case? Once again, we have our next applicant is Tinda Guatemala, located 10106 Lorraine Avenue, new signage. Do we have anyone present related to that case? Okay, it does not appear like we have anyone present for that case, so we will not be reviewing that case and it will be moved to a future agenda. So that actually concludes our certificates of appropriateness. Then we'll move on to administrative reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not much to report. The year is off to a good start. I did want to note that I recently received word from Council President Blaine Griffin that he was reappointing Councilmember Gray to our commission for another 2 years. So we're happy to have Councilmember Gray for another 2 years.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the commission. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I have learned so much in these last 2 or 3 years I've been on, and I am happy to stay on with the entire board. You are a fantastic group of commissioners, and I just a learning scale. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gray. Welcome for continuing your service with us. We appreciate it. Do we have an update on the other council appointed position?
No, we're still waiting to hear back for a final appointment on that one.
Okay, excellent. All right, well then that concludes our administrative reports. Then I think that's all we have for today. And so we will adjourn today's meeting and see everyone at our next meeting on February 12th. Have a great week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.